If you thought the villains in Squid Game Season 1 were bad, just wait until you see what Season 2 brought us. Some characters were just unlucky. Others, oh, they earned every bit of hate they got. From cowardly betrayals to outright ruining the lives of their fellow players, these are the characters that made fans furious. Today, we're counting down the top 5 most hated characters in Squid Game Season 2. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll either be nodding in agreement or raging in the comments. But before we start, tell me, who do you think was the worst character this season? Drop your pick in the comments and let's get this discussion going. If I had a son who messed up as much as Park Young-sik, aka Player 007, did this season, I would have gladly given him a little help during red light, green light. Now, was he the biggest villain? But was he an absolute disaster of a human being? Absolutely. This guy had one job: keep his promise to his mother and leave the game. But what did he do instead? Lied to her, broke her heart, and abandoned her when she needed him most. The Mingle game was the moment where everyone lost their last shred of patience with him. He had the chance to stand by his mother, protect her, and at least go out with some dignity. But instead, he ditched her without hesitation. I mean, imagine having a son who chooses money over his own mother. If that's not a top-tier betrayal, I don't know what is. Sure, he wasn't evil, but his selfishness was unforgivable. And for that, he more than earns his place on this list. Every single eliminated player can thank Im Jong-dae, aka Player 100, for sending them straight to their deaths. At every turn, this man was the loudest proponent for continuing the games. Every time someone hesitated, every time a player thought about quitting, there was Jong-dae, running his mouth about how they all needed to keep going. And why? Was it some grand survival strategy? A twisted love for the competition? Nope. It was pure, unfiltered selfishness. Turns out, Jong-dae wasn't just in debt. He had the largest debt out of anyone. 10 billion won, about $6.8 million. Look, everyone in Squid Game is desperate. That's the whole point. But Jong-dae took desperation and turned it into peer pressure-fueled murder. His speeches convinced countless players to stay when they wanted to leave, and most of them didn't live long enough to regret it. And the cherry on top? He didn't even have the guts to own up to what he did. Instead of taking responsibility, he justified it with, "I had no choice." No, Jong-dae, you had plenty of choices, and every single one of them was wrong. A crypto bro, an absent baby daddy, a walking red flag. There are many reasons to hate Lee Myung-gi, aka Player 333, but the biggest one, he directly caused the deaths of 2 of the best characters this season. From the moment he stepped into the game, you could just tell this guy was bad news. Every word out of his mouth screamed, "I'm the kind of guy who sells NFTs and disappears when the market crashes." And true to form, he bailed when things got tough. No loyalty, no accountability, just pure selfish survival. But what makes him even worse is that he didn't even need to be there. Unlike most players drowning in debt, Myung-gi wasn't desperate. He chose to join the game as some twisted gamble, risking his life like it was just another Ponzi scheme. And in the process, he betrayed and sacrificed 2 fan-favorite players. Honestly, if there was one character who deserved to be eliminated, it was him. And when he finally got what was coming, not a single tear was shed. Good riddance, Myung-gi. Hwang Jun-ho's subplot is one of the weakest parts of the entire Squid Game franchise. Back in Season 1, his story felt like a detour that never really paid off. And in Season 2, it's even worse. Every scene with him and the mercenaries on the boat could have been completely erased, and nothing about the season would have changed. His investigation? Pointless. His big discovery? Obvious. And that twist about the boat's captain being a traitor? Yeah, no one was surprised. But the real reason he deserves this spot? He's the reason Gi-hun got played like a complete fool this season. Think about it. Gi-hun had a shot at making a real difference. But thanks to Jun-ho's interference, he got manipulated, betrayed, and left looking like an absolute clown. At this point, Jun-ho isn't even a character. He's just a waste of screen time. The writers had so many chances to make his story compelling, and instead, they just used him as filler. If he doesn't do something meaningful in Season 3, it's time to let this subplot die for good. I have never felt a more visceral hatred for a fictional character than I have for Park Min-soo, aka Player 125. In fact, I need the creators to issue a public statement explaining why he even exists, because his only purpose in Season 2 was to be the absolute worst. It's bad enough that he was a coward, but he was the kind of coward who drained the joy out of every scene he was in. His whining, insufferable. His decision-making, a disaster. And don't even get me started on how he fumbled Simi multiple times. And here's how I know I'm not alone in this hatred. Everyone blames him for Simi's death, even though we all saw that Player 124 was the one who actually killed her. That's how much of a walking El Min-soo was. Easily the most hated character in Squid Game Season 2. And there you have it. The top 5 most hated characters in Squid Game Season 2. Some were selfish, some were cowardly, and some were just downright useless. But all of them left fans shaking their heads in frustration. Now I want to hear from you. Did I miss anyone? Was there a character you hated even more than Park Min-soo? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Squid Game content. I've got plenty more rankings and theories coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.